For the last couple sets, we've been asking for more powerful legendaries. We've been asking for legendaries that impact the metagame. We've been asking for legendaries that hold their value. In this set, Star Wars Unlimited and FFG, they delivered a lot of good legendaries to talk about, and a lot they're going to have a huge impact at the Galactic Championships, which are just under a month away. I'm Jordan from the Colorado Cantina crew, here to rank and tier all the legendaries from Ashes of the Empire, joined by my teammates Kyle and Sharkey. If you missed it, earlier this week we talked about and discussed our leader rankings. Tonight we're going to do the same thing with legendaries, doing it S through D. Kyle, take us through the tiers.
Yeah, so S tier means it's going to be at the top tables. These will be critical cards or crucial cards in the top decks all over the place, right? As we go down, A, still going to be in decks. It's going to be prevalent in cards, in various decks, but maybe not as meta defining. Meaning, like if this card didn't exist, this A or S tier deck would not be the same deck, right? There may be replacements for them. B, still very good. Cards that's going to be in various decks, maybe more niche type decks, but they serve a role. C, we're getting a little bit down there, right? These cards might be cool, but might not be as impactful. They might enable a deck to function, but not raise that deck up into, hey, this is a meta deck necessarily. And D's a coaster, right? So we're always going to have a few coasters.
Might look cool, might be sweet in prestige or hyperspace, but
it's a cool coaster.
But won't make the deck. Some Twin Suns, Flotsam or something. But Sharky, overall, like a good crop of legendaries. I don't think we could, I'm usually one to complain about the collecting value side of things, and I don't think that you really have a leg to stand on in this set.
This might be the best set of legendaries in Spark, in my opinion. There might be a couple other arguments here and there, but I think this is up there.
Yep. So let's dive into it and talk about a shitty legendary, not one that's really good. We'll start. We're just rapid firing through some bad ones. To start off, we have, I think, the biggest unit that has ever been printed in SWU. It's the Sumavern something. It's a 15/15 Sentinel, right? It's a Sentinel that I don't care about. It's a cool little
drought thief that'll never see play.
On attack, defeat all other space units. I just don't really see it here. Like, if you're playing a space unit deck, typically those are pretty fast, and you're not going to be able to go to 12 resources. This is one more expensive than Annihilator, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, for this to even maybe work, you've got to have a way to cheat it out. And even if I'm going to put all that effort into saying I need to get this card out, the payoff is that I just cleared the space lane. But the payoff needs to be basically I win the game, right? And it doesn't say that, right? It just says I clear the space lane, which might not even be relevant depending on what my opponent is doing.
Undefeatable.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, it's fun, but yeah, my opponent then just clears it for a 4-cost upgrade removal card. I'm sad.
And hyperspace is going to look sick. The color scheme in this is awesome with the purple, but it's a trash card. Sharky, take us through our next trash card.
Improvised Identity. I just think it's a cool idea that will be fun in Twin Suns.
So Improvised Identity is a Gambit upgrade, which I think is pretty cool. It costs 2, attached to a ground unit. Attached unit gains. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a ground unit and discard it. Then you may attack with this unit for this attack. This unit gains the discarded unit's abilities. So not only does it have to hit the right unit that has abilities, but it has to hit a unit and not an upgrade or an event or something like that. I think this is one of those big brain cards that in theory might have something fun, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to end up being like this set's version of Death Star plans.
I look forward to losing a game to this. Somebody plays this, randomly high rolls like 2 times to hit like some crazy card, and then I lose the game and I'm like, what just happened? Yeah. Right. But I'll only remember the one time it happened because that will be it.
Yeah. All right, Kyle, pick your next one.
Ooh, we're staying down in trash land.
You go up to C maybe, but if you don't want to stay all the way in trash land, but yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be a little more positive. I'm gonna go up to C. Yeah. Oh man, you kind of stuck me here. All right, we'll go up to C. I'm gonna take the Corsair. I want to go to the top and talk about the fun stuff, but the Corsair, I'm gonna give this one a C. A because it's not totally a coaster. It does have an ability that matters, right? Unpreventable damage in the past has been helpful in certain situations, especially if we get cards in the future where we want that into. Its stat line is fine. It's a little understated, but a 6/5 is not horrendous, right? It is a capital ship, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we want to go Piet yellow and this is relevant.
Maybe not.
Right? Maybe not, but Underworld's just not a really big strategy right now. I mean, this card might have scared me back in the old CAD days, but maybe it'll be scary again should we see more Underworld kind of interaction going on. So yeah, I mean, that's why I'm putting it down in C. It's not as bad as the previous two we talked about, but it's got some upside.
Yeah, I think when I first saw it, I was more impressed than after I thought about it for a second. But overall, I wouldn't be surprised to see it pop up in a deck in a couple sets from now, maybe in that showdown variety area. I think C is a good spot for it.
Yeah,
cool. I'll go to our next one, and I think we'll finish off the lower bottom tier right here, and I think that's Gallus Rex. I do think he's better than the 15/15 and an improvised identity. I think I would probably rank him in this way. There's just it's really hard to have that big of a board with that type of group power buff ability. I think it's an interesting try. I think like in Sloan it could have been good, but Sloan's really not that good, so it probably won't end up really seeing any play. I think in limited it could be okay if you get some good power buffs going and you build the right sort of pool, especially in draft. I think you might have the ability to construct that pool a little bit differently, but I'd be surprised if this saw play in competitive decks.
Same.
Yeah, he was trying to be a Sloan support card. I mean, I think sometimes they print specific cards to try to give specific leaders the ability to exist. It's just not quite good enough.
All right. Well, Kyle, let's take up the next, or Sharky, take up the next one, but let's not go all the way to the super positive zone yet, but we could get a little bit higher than this.
We can stay in the C tier for one more. I want Boba Fett's Rancor on the field because it's a cool card. I think it has a very niche use, but its use can be very good. Is Bo-Katan the unit causing you problems? Cool. Play the Rancor. It kills it right away. That's about all the use cases I can come up with, except for like also killing Rey. So yeah, it looks like fun. It's going to be a really cool hyperspace. It's not a bad card, but it is probably not going to define any kind of meta. So yeah.
If you guys are new to our tier list, like we argue through them and we try to come to a compromise on what they look like, and we make our tier list as a unit. I was expecting to have to argue against this being in like upper B or something, so I'm cool with it in C. I just think that at this late in the game, there's too many conditions. You have to put a lot of damage on your base. It just feels a little bit too fringy, but I think this is one of those bombs like Unlimited that you're going to have an answer for if you open that legendary. So I think there's some cool stuff there, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if we're living in a world where I need to kill Rey, he gives me an answer, right? It looks cool. I agree with that, but I'd even move it below the Corsair. I just don't see this fitting its way into many decks.
Works for me.
I didn't order my C tier stuff or my D tier stuff. They're all the same to me.
Kyle, take us away with our next one.
Sure. I'm going to go up the chain here just a little bit. Yeah. And I'm going to pick Admiral Akbar. Okay. This is a card that the first time I read it, I went, no, poop. Nope, I was wrong. I think it actually is pretty decent. One thing this guy really does for you is reload, right? And Kelleran, these cards in the past that have reloaded have always been effective. And this guy is just another one of those cards. If I'm playing against a control deck and I need to go wide, he can help me there. But what I've really found is if I'm playing a space deck and you're trying to get rid of my pilot targets, you're getting rid of my ships, he's a way for me to reload space such that my pilot leader has a deploy to option. And so far, he's been good. According to our rankings, though, I think that does put him firmly in B. He is going to be for specific situations and specific decks where he is good, but not necessary, not meta-defining, just good.
So he's a 6/6 for 5. And at the end of the day, he could just be that, right? When played, you may defeat this unit. So they really built in some buffers around any double when played triggers or anything like that. They really future-proofed this leader to keep power creep away. I think in theory it could be good, but I struggle to see how like it being that good in a deck right now. For me, I had it at the top of C tier, but I'm not fully against him being at like the bottom of B. I just don't know the types of units that really fit for what's going on here. Like, what deck are you building that supports this? Is there a lot of 1-drops involved, Are you trying to go 2-3? I think it's a pretty complicated thing to a pretty complicated needle to thread, if you will, in terms of getting the most value out of this unit. But Sharky, why don't you break the tie for us?
I think it belongs in B strictly because there are 2 decks that it belongs in right now, which is Han Pilot Green and Luke Pilot Green. And both of those, I think, are going to be relevant leaders. I think the Luke Pilot Green will have more meta impact than Han will, but they're both good leaders, and I do think that this guy fits in very well there.
Okay.
So, solid unit as well. 6/6 for 5 is a good stat line.
I could
Yeah, there's a home.
Yeah, I could take that. I could accept that. I'll go somewhere. I'll go up to B tier as well. And I think for me that's just Kelleran. And I think Kelleran for me would be ahead of Akbar. I think at the end of the day, an ambush unit that has the force, he's a 3/5 just for 4. I think it's solid. I don't think there's that many good options for force ambushers at 4. There aren't, especially in yellow. And then with the ability to get buffs with spies, and obviously it's very thematic with the whole Grogu thing going on. But I think even at its worst, a 3/5 ambush that has the force is a pretty strong unit there, Kyle.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he'll find his way into decks. I can't argue him above or below Akbar. I found more uses for Akbar so far than him. I look at this guy and I go, is he as good as Plo Koon?
No.
Which was an uncommon, but he's still a good card. He'll definitely have home. He'll find his way into a few different decks. So, he's playable. He's fair.
Yeah. Sharky?
I think by him costing less than Plo Koon, he's still in the conversation of being a good force ambusher.
Yeah.
And I think that makes him solidly B. I think he's good in a couple decks. I don't think he'll define the meta, but I think he'll be very good in the decks that he's good in.
Okay. Sharky, why don't you take a more positive one too then?
Let's keep along with the B tier here, and I believe that Elzar belongs there.
Okay.
He's another one of those. He's good in the decks he's good in. He's fine in other decks, and he can show up and be a 3/7 body that attacks you immediately. That's pretty cool. Not spectacular from what I can tell, but still very solid and can actually surprise people and win a game if you can sequence it in such a way that you aren't getting immediately blown up by the advantage tokens going somewhere. So
yeah.
I think he's good. I don't know that he's gonna be he's not a build around for a deck in my opinion, but he's a supplemental damage piece in the Ezra Yellow type deck, for example.
So he's a 6-drop, 3/7. You control a force leader. This unit enters play ready. When played, distribute up to 5 advantage tokens among other friendly units. Then an opponent searches twice that many cards from the top of their deck for an event, reveals it, and draws it. Kyle, do you think there's any downside there? I mean, obviously you're giving your opponent a card, but how would you rate that downside? Is it enough to keep him at a B for you?
Yeah, I don't think it's awful. I would definitely keep him at a B. I mean, I don't love giving my opponent a card at all, but I'm also, if I have a force leader, giving myself potentially 8 damage immediately.
Seems
right?
good.
5 + 3, right? Seems good. I'd say a deck that I've found good use for this for is in Talzin Yellow, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned Ezra,
Oh, yeah.
but he is not villainy or heroic. He loves to come out and help our, villainy force leaders too. So I think he's gonna kill people. So
Yep.
good.
I'm good with it in B too. I'm not sure where in B, but I'm good where it's at right now. Kyle, what's your next pick?
It feels like we're trying to stay in tiers, so I'm going to pick a card that I think belongs here. And that's Grogu. He's cute. He's yes. He's hanging out in his little machine. In the decks that he's good in, Mando, he's very good, right? He helps you keep initiative. Frankly, in any deck where initiative is going to be important to your strategy, this is a 2/6 body for 3, so he is hard to kill, and he's going to help you keep that advantage of I want the initiative, right? Maybe think Cassian, that sort of thing. There's other decks that will matter in. So for the decks he fits into and does his job, he's very good at doing his job. And I think that kind of fits our goal here of saying B, right? It's for a specific job.
What do you think, Sharky?
I actually agree with everything you said. I have Grogu at the top of my B tier here because I think Grogu's more widely useful than some of the other ones, but I think he's also solid and an enabler without being a build around.
So I actually think he's a C tier. I think there's one leader that he's
Why you so
probably
negative, bro?
I don't know. I need to seek help probably. But I think overall there's one deck where he's really good, and that's Mando, and the best variant of Mando isn't even playing him right now. So I struggle to see how, I don't think he belongs in the same category as these 3. Maybe Akbar, but I'm a little bit lower on Akbar than you guys. I'm cool with it in and the end of B, but it would be under protest.
Man, I went out of my way to give you a second leader just so you couldn't make that argument with Cassian, and yet you did it anyway.
Yeah, I did that. That's what I'm doing.
I agree. I'm fine with him protesting. That's
All
fine. He
right.
can be wrong.
And I guess we got one more D to do, so I'll keep on the negative trail, and let's go with
Keep
the what's it called? The Arcana Star Map. It's a 0/3 upgrade for 1. Attach unit gains. If you would search a number of cards from your deck, search twice that number of cards instead. If it said you would take twice as many cards other than that, I'd be super down, but it just seems kind of pointless. It's you're giving up a card for a potential card in the future, maybe that you get a little bit more filtered, a little bit more custom to your needs. I don't think it's going to see play almost anywhere, Kyle.
Yeah, I even theoretically, the only time I could see this being useful is if it was attached to a leader search type ability. So like maybe Jin, right? I want to keep my Jin leader alive. It's going to help me search or dig deeper when I'm doing things. Maybe, but probably not. I'm probably just playing this and getting 2 for 1.
Is that how Jin even works though? Is it search or draw for Jin?
I think it's search the top 3 and then draw. Yeah,
got it. I wasn't
right?
sure
So
if it's draw 3 and then filter or something, but yeah, I guess that's a use case where it would make sense. Yeah, it does say search. You're right. But I guess we're all just firmly in D.
Yeah, I was just stretching for a reason to use this.
Yeah,
the best use I've seen for it is it's a 1 cost 3 health buff to Han Solo. That's it.
That's fair. All right, Sharky, why don't you pick a good one for us?
I'm going to stick with the negative trend, and this is only negative because I actually thought he'd be higher than this. I have Luke Skywalker in our C tier. As cool as that card looks and could be, I think he's top of C, but I don't see him really climbing out of that right now unless Vader becomes a real problem and everyone's running ground aggro to cover it, and you can get 4 units to just wipe a board. But the amount of times I've seen it happen is 0.
Yeah, I still haven't actually triggered this ability, despite having him in a few decks and tried him.
Crazy.
Not in a single game have I triggered his ability. To me, this is like theoretical sideboard max, right? Like in the right matchup, if they're completely lane dodging me and I'm able to use this to swing the game, maybe. But I don't even know that I want to use him for that. There might be better options.
You really think that Grogu is better than Luke here?
Yes.
I have decks I want to put Grogu in. I don't yet. Every deck I put Luke into, I eventually move him to the sideboard, and then I eventually go, I need that sideboard space for something else, and then he gets moved out.
Yeah, I'm so much more negative than you guys in this tier list and the last tier list. So I need to search internally. I'll take it Luke there, but I think for me Luke would be in B, above Grogu in C, and then for me I have one more B card in this set. And I think it goes at the top of B for me, and that's the Whistling Birds. I don't think it's the best upgrade in the set, spoiler alert, but I think it's really strong. I think it fits really well with Cat. I think it fits really well with other ping leaders. It is a strong upgrade. It's a cheap upgrade. It only costs 3, so if you get it removed, it doesn't feel like a massive, gigantic blowout. 2/2 for 3, attached to a non-vehicle unit. Attach unit gains when attack ends. If this unit dealt combat damage to an opponent's base, deal 2 damage to each unit in that opponent controls in that unit's arena. So it could really, really clear a board.
Yeah, this feels like Cad's lightsaber. So in that deck, it's pretty interesting. But I agree with you. I when I first read this, I thought, oh my God, A, you know what I mean? But now I've played with it, and it's another one of those cards that kind of finds its way to my sideboard, and then maybe on its way out after that. I will say one of my goals this set is to play a Minoc turn 1 and give Whistling Birds to it and blow out a pilot.
Sounds good.
If I can pull that off, we'll be happy.
Put that on the new Heroic Purgle or something. Now we're talking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I've got this one in A tier, and I have it in A tier for a couple specific reasons. It's not just the extra damage, it's also the fact that it's a red upgrade that gives health. That to me buffs it just above B tier, and I do think it's more widely useful for a lot of the red leaders, and I've put it into more than just CAD decks specifically because it's a health buff that also does a bunch of other stuff. I can see an argument for being top of B though, so I'm not going to be too heavy on this. Like, that's not a hill I'm going to die on, but I do think it's a very strong upgrade, and I think that the more time goes on, the more we'll be like, yeah, it probably would be an A tier.
So I have 3 cards in A tier. That's my whole A tier, my whole A tier.
Same.
And I think that those cards are just so much better than Whistling Birds that they would just not fit in. So if we want to like take a pause and do A real quick and then come back and try to compare it, that might be functional. But
Yeah,
for me, I just think that the cards in A are so much stronger than Whistling Birds right now.
You're killing me, man. I just want to go straight to S. We talked at the top about how this set has better legendaries, and we're teasing. We're just not getting there.
Crawling up.
We're building anticipation, right?
Okay.
Hopefully we're keeping you on the edge of your seat. All right, so let's go to A tier, and I'll make a case first. And I think one of the cards in A tier is Darksaber. I think it might even be S tier. I think that it's like a Chewy on an upgrade. There are a couple restrictions, but it has to be a unique unit. It has to be a non-vehicle unit, but those really aren't super real things. It also is a 4 buff power with 2 health for 4. I think the ability part, attach unit gains, when you're paying cost, this unit provides aspect icons, is probably not going to be used very often. But the fact that you could make an additional leader unit that can't be captured, that can't be bounced, that can't be defeated with removal that says non-leader unit, to me makes it extremely, extremely strong. And to me, I thought about, this was the hardest choice I had if a card was A tier or S tier. So Kyle, tell me why it should be a tier that you believe it should be.
Yeah, it's not S because it doesn't if I make a green deck, this card is not in the 60 by default.
Okay.
There are a couple S cards that if I am playing those aspects, it is in, period. Right. I could be playing Luke Pilot. I'm not playing the Darksaber probably, right? Anyway,
Fair.
so this card, to me, I set it at the top of A for exactly the 2 words you said there. Makes another leader unit. That's more than 2 words. Anyway, that has proven to be very valuable. Yeah, it's incredibly valuable because it's just, now you have another unit that's really, really hard to remove.
Yeah.
It's another tool against control type strategies, right? So, very good. And the last Darksaber was also good. I think this one slightly better. Definitely A.
Yeah. Sharky?
I have it at the top of my A tier as well for all the reasons listed. It's not quite S tier. That being said, the only green deck I can come up with at the moment that I'm not going to play it in would be a pilot deck. Like, this thing goes in a lot of places because that ability is just good.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the examples of the legendaries being very good this set, and I think this one I can see an argument for S tier. I don't think it's quite there. System shock is still a thing,
Sure.
which is unfortunate, but like it's still really good, and you have to make them have it.
Yeah.
And if they don't have it, that leader unit can absolutely win you a game. My favorite target is currently the cyborg mech because it's hilarious to give that thing a leader trait and then it's got grit.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. To me, there's one other card that has an argument to be an S tier, but I think it's A tier. And again, it might be the top card of A tier. It might be this or Dark. I think it's Darksaber, but it might be this. And for me, it's the Mandalorian.
That's the other one I have too.
When I first saw this card, I thought, best card in the set with a bullet. It's amazing. And the more I'm playing it, the more I don't think it is. I think for 2 reasons. One of them, Cad Bane, in a world where a free ping leader exists, shields become less valuable. And 2, the concentration of 4-drop units that are just all really good. Churret, Itinerant Warrior, Typho, you name it. There's a color that has a good 4-drop unit, more or less. So to me, that's why it belongs in A. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, CAD ruins this card. We talked about how CAD is meta warping in some ways. Here's a good example. This card without a ping leader, oh my goodness, right? He's above rate. He's hitting for 5 on a cost of 4. He can protect my other units. To your point, oh my goodness. With CAD, they just go cool ping. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I just have this unit sitting here that doesn't feel great anymore, right? So CAD kind of just makes this card feel like a bummer, right? To your point, in other decks, there's a lot of competition in the 4-drops. I think the most specific thing is he doesn't say force on him. Yeah. There's a lot of leaders right now that I'm playing force for a reason, and if he doesn't have force, I probably am not going to play him.
Yeah. Kyle or Sharky?
I have him middle of A tier as well. I do think where he's strong, he's phenomenal. The issue is going to be that Cad Bane, I do think, will be a large representation of the meta, but he's not going to be the whole meta. And so maybe he's just a resource against Cad, but is a game winner against half a dozen other decks.
That's fair.
I think that especially against force decks, ironically, he's very good.
Yeah.
A lot of the green-blue stuff doesn't deal with him. Talzin doesn't deal with him very well. It's not that they can't, but they have to go out of their way to do it. I do think he's still a very, very good legendary, despite the Cad weakness.
Yeah. So I mean, just on the surface, super strong. In theory, super strong. In practice, slightly less strong than we thought. I believe. And for me, there's one other card, and I don't think this card has an argument to be in S tier at all. It might have an argument for B tier. And for me, it's the Ravager. I think it's
That's exactly where I thought you were going. Yeah.
You think it's a really strong unit, 9 drop, 8, 10, restore 2. I think restore 2 is pretty big to have in this archetype. And then when you play a unit, you may have it deal damage equal to to its power to a unit in the same arena. So it does count on his own playing, on its when played. In the future, it's hard. It does board control. It's really good. I don't think it's as good as some of these S tier legendaries that we'll talk about here in a second. But this card, I think, is just awesome, and I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, I mean, this is just carrying on the tradition of good triangles. We had a couple meh triangles recently, right? It was Spark. So early on, we had some really good triangles. This is a really good triangle, right? And so, if it's not dealt with, it can just take over the game, right?
It wins a game.
Maybe I don't kill something in space if you're on the ground, but if you don't kill it, now I'm going to start 2-for-1ing you all over the place on the ground and just take control of things. So
and it's got restore.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
definitely no argument for S. I agree, because it only fits into like Pied or
Krennic,
Krennic, these sorts of decks. So it doesn't fit everywhere, which makes it not S, but it's still very good.
Yeah. So then let's go back to the time warp, right?
Yeah, let's tie this back real quick. My only difference here is I have the birds and Ravager flipped, and that's it.
Yeah.
And only because I think Ravager's more limited in its scope of use, whereas Whistling Birds is in a lot more decks that I think will be seeing play. And I think they're both very strong.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just seems like these three are just so much stronger than Whistling Birds. But Kyle, why don't you break the tie for us?
Yeah, I agree. I think where the Ravager is good, it is more good than when the birds are
more good. Yeah.
So I would leave it above.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. Let us know what you think in the comment. I think this is it's a pretty debatable spot. But and then I mean, to be fair, all these cards rock, right? Like these 4 cards are elite, and I think you'll be seeing a lot of play everywhere else. We have 2 more May cards, so let's just go through them, and then we could talk about the S tier. Zeb, Kyle, where do you think he belongs?
I mean, he's potentially a finisher for aggressive decks. He feels in a way like our yellow boy there, Elzar Man, as to where he can kind of just bring in a bunch of heat towards the end. He's in a different color set. He's locked to heroism, but in some ways he feels like a way to kind of end a game. He's like a less good wrecker in some ways, a way less good wrecker. But he's still very good. I'd probably put him above Grogu and sit him next to Elzar somewhere.
Yeah. Sharky?
I have him paired with Elzar, particularly because of the deck I mentioned Elzar in with Ezra Yellow. I think he's great in that. I think he can be a solid finisher in a couple other red heroism decks as well. I've got him middle of B tier. I think he's good, but the scope is a little bit limited there.
Yeah.
That's all.
So I would have him above Grogu, but I have him in C tier. My B tier when I was doing it myself was only Luke, Whistling Birds, Kellerin, and Elzar. So it's a little bit more limited than you guys, but I do think he's better than Grogu. And I do hear your point, Sharkey, on it being a nice finisher. I think Grief could be playing this as a sideboard card potentially, maybe a 1 or 2 of main, and really does push some pretty heavy damage.
Yep, I think it's very solid.
And then our last kind of meh card here is Aya Scion. Sharkey, where does it belong?
It's a cool idea. I don't know that we've broken it yet. I like the idea. I just don't have a deck that's like, oh yeah, this is actually going to work. Like we have some really fun combos to get there to make it happen. If you're never interacted with. But
how can we make that work? How can we make it so people don't interact with us? This is something that
I think you have to eat the opponent's cards.
Yeah. What are my options? I think he does belong and see really cool ability though, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, but it's so slow. It costs 7. It does nothing.
Yeah.
Then I have to be able to tap it to hopefully do something the next turn. You could still whiff.
Yeah.
But I can wait all the way to 7. Then it lives. Then I tap it. Then I whiff.
Then you scoop.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it bottom of C just because it's kind of fun, but it's probably
The way
D.
that you just described that makes me think it's in D. You know, like the
Yeah.
more
I think
as
it's
you were
bottom of C.
as
Come
you were
on, someone's
talking
gonna
about
break
it. Yeah, we'll see. Let us know if you've broken it.
If all that happens, then
Yeah.
my opponent doesn't interact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Our friends over at ECL put out a video last week with their infinite like credit loop, and the first thing was like, okay, well, you have to deck yourself. Okay, well, this seems like as likely as that probably. Both cool, both very fun, both very like, thought-provoking concepts. I think is where I would lay both of those things. All right, now the money maker. Now the thing that you've all come from, and to be honest, I think the best card in the set, I think the strongest legendary we've seen in a long time is Pre-Vizsla. I went back and forth.
We disagree.
I thought about Night Sister. I thought about Chimera. I think that Night Sister and Pre-Vizsla are on a different level than Chimera, but I think that Pre-Vizsla is better than Night Sister. Not Night Sister, but Sister.
Interesting. Well, I will say about this group, as we're going to talk about them as a group, is one of the things we talked about the last couple of sets is like, man, hero villainy just doesn't have top end. Well, here you go. We're going to solve that problem in one set by giving you multiple villainy top end cards, right?
Yeah.
We'll just solve all the villainy top end. Here you go. Right now, they serve kind of different purposes. Pre-Vizsla, I think, is very good, but I'm going to talk about this in the context of Night Sister because I think Night Sister is the best legendary in the set.
Okay.
Pre-Vizsla kills something, which is cool. Perhaps multiple things, which is also very cool. But Night Sister has the potential to do the same thing, and it's just force throw on a body, but better if they discard. I mean, I've lost a couple of games where I've been forced into a situation where I only had one or two high cost cards in my hand, and then both times I've realized, oh wait, they can split up the damage and clear my board here. I guess I just lose, right? So force throws back on the menu. It's a force unit. Discard helps with card advantage for yourself. It does multiple things. Vizsla kills something, it gives you multiple threats. This card helps you with card advantage, potentially kills multiple things, provides a giant threat. I guess it just depends on that flow of the game, which one you need is which one is better at any given time.
Okay, well, Sharky, since I'm on the pre-side, make your argument for the sister, and then I'll try to do a little rebuttal.
I think the best argument for sister over Pre-Vizsla is that Pre-Vizsla doesn't do anything against the decks that are running no units, and ninth comes out one turn earlier.
Okay.
The one turn earlier is a big factor, especially since by that time of the game, it's not. Now that people know this card exists, they're starting to keep sometimes bad hands so they can pitch away a one-cost card. But even then, you're getting rid of a card and you're spreading damage around. The impact that Ninth Sister or two Ninth Sisters can have is, in my opinion, significantly bigger than the impact that a double Pre-Vizsla can have.
Okay.
And I think that for me puts Ninth Sister over the edge, though again I think we're arguing over like rounding errors here because both of these are phenomenal additions to the villainy top end.
Yeah, I guess the reason that I think that Pre is better than Ninth Sister is twofold. One, because it solves a problem that blue-green villainy and just villainy in general has been struggling to solve since rotation, and that's dealing with multiple units with one action. Lawbringer kind of got us there with Aura last set, with the -2/-2 being able to potentially kill things. But as we saw, like in a set where there were tons of spy creation, Lawbringer can't even impact spies, right? And I'm not comparing Lawbringer to Pre here one for one, but I think he does really fill a void that was super necessary in that archetype. And in addition to that, there's nothing your opponent can do besides trying to play healthy units with more HP to play around Pre, where Nine Sister, like you mentioned, you can hold a 1-drop, you can hold a 2-drop. And in the beginning, I was with you guys. I thought that the Sister was the best card in the set, the best legendary in the set. But that was really before people got used to playing against this card and keeping their hand construction in a different way that really led towards more legendaries. Carl's with me too. He's barking about Pre-Vizsla too. He's a big Mandalorian guy.
Yeah, I think to me the biggest difference is the cost. right? If I'm playing a deck, like say I'm playing Cad Blue, which one of these am I putting 3 of in, and which one of these am I putting 2 of in? And so far for me, it's been the Sister of 3, and the biggest factor is it costs 1 less.
I think the other argument is that if they're gonna keep a crappy hand so they can pitch something for 9 Sister, I'm still winning. I think that's a big deal to me, and I think that puts 9 Sister over. Again, rounding errors, these both are phenomenal. I don't like. There's gonna be decks where you want 3 of each of these.
Like for instance, like in Cad Blue, I'm playing 3 of both.
Like I said, it's rounding errors. I prefer 9th, but I can absolutely see a world where someone's like, "Oh, I want 3 free," and they're not wrong with their arguments. I just think that if I had to pick right now, it'd be 9th.
Oh no, I think the arguments that both of you guys put forward are very valid and like logical and follow like a consistent train of thought.
I like
sure.
9th better. How's that? That's about it.
Whoa, bro, you got me. I do. I guess my last question here, and it's 2v1, so the sister's number 1. Do you think that if we had every person who watched this video comment saying, "Hey, I think Sister or Pre is number 1," where do you think the percentile would fall, Sharkey?
I'd be curious, but I'd be betting like 55-45 9th over Pre. Like it's not going to be a lot. I think it's going to be someone's favorite card one way or the other because of an experience they had with it, and that's what's also coloring my experience with it. So like,
sure,
I have played a lot more 9th, and I have liked 9th's effects better than when I played Pre. But it's not a lot. Like we're talking a couple percentage points here.
Kyle?
Yeah, I agree. I was actually going to say the exact same numbers before you spoke up, 55-45. I think it has the slight edge, that sort of thing. But we're splitting hairs here, right? We have one more legendary to talk about. I do think I agree that these two are above the third. I think the third is also S, but it has a condition that might not always be met. You might not always put the Chimera in your blue villain.
Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because that's kind of our general rule, that S tier equals in every one of these decks. And for me, like in Aura, for instance, I don't know if you're playing Chimera or Cantwell. I don't know if you're playing a mix.
Ooh, okay.
They're both really good. Aura, you're playing a lot of good units. Like maybe if you're playing like Dedra and you have a spy, but then there's like one spy you want to give away. I don't know. It's been something I've been thinking about a lot. Cantwell's really decreasing in play almost across the board outside of Aura potentially, right? So I don't know here. I guess, Kyle, that's a question. Is Chimera better or is Cantwell better?
Yeah, to your point, it depends on the situation. If I've got a unit to throw away, I think Chimera is always better, almost, because it's actual removal. Now, of course, Cantwell can tap down a leader, and that's a pretty big difference. Removed later, and they can return their leader. So, if I've got other units I'm willing to sacrifice, I think generally I want Chimera. But to your point, in blue villain, I might be playing a control strategy where I don't have other units I want to give up. Right. And so I probably don't want to play this card. Does that mean that this isn't really S? Maybe it's top of A next to the Darksaber? I think there's a discussion to be had.
Remind me, can Chimera nuke itself, or does it have to be another unit?
It can kill itself.
I think because of that, Chimera goes still into the S tier for me, and it stays over Cantwell. And I say that because there are multiple times where I've seen Cantwell come down without having this close condition that is actually kind of tough in a world where actually there's a fair amount of hand hate going on, mostly from the top of the S tier here.
I guess you can make an argument that it's like I'm not sure if you would get the heal. Would you get the heal if you chose Chimera to kill itself?
I don't know. But even in the worst case scenario, you're nuking something with Chimera. That you would not be nuking necessarily with the Cantwell, and I think because of that, I don't see a world where you don't just run one Chimera, even in the deck.
I think that's fair, and I do agree that I think a quote unquote like naked Cantwell probably does feel better than a Chimera, or feel worse than a Chimera sacrificing itself. I do wonder if Chimera would get the heal there, because then I think I would be firmly in a naked Chimera being better. I'm not sure if it is able to see that trigger, because it's someone could tell us in the comments, or we'll ask one of the judges on our team. But that's a good one. But I think either way, if it's an S or A, and I think it's at the bottom of S, but it's a big drop. It's almost as big for me as if you missed it in our other video, the drop for me from Cad to Mando or whatever it is there. I think it's a big drop, but I think
I can see that.
If we look at these leaders and these legendaries, they're awesome. I think this was a great set of design. I think there's a couple that maybe didn't need to exist that could exist in different ways. I'm looking at this 15-15 or the 12-12 or whatever it is.
I think it's cool that it exists because it's just cool.
Yeah, but I just a little bit more
Doesn't
creativity.
feel cool when you open that pack.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if it was like, hey,
The hyperspace it does.
play this for X less if a really tricky, interesting thing was met, you know, or something along those lines. But overall, I don't think you could look at this and not be super pleased with the improvements in overall quality in Legendaries.
Yeah, I mean, we got a nice fat stack of S and A, right? We're not going to go back to our old videos, but I think it's been lesser than that, with previous sets. So
Yeah,
there's multiple cards I'm going to pull and go, I need 3 of this legendary, right?
yeah, 100%. And
Yep.
there's going to be some that I pull and I'm going to say I want 3 because it's Luke Skywalker, or I want 3 because it looks really cool. And I think that's kind of the vibe you want to be in when you get into this type of set. So we have 3 extremely strong cards that are probably all going to be played in the like the new all-star of the format, Cad Blue, right now. So that really shows how much of a power spike this set has been given. Going back to Law, we had Liberty and single reactor ignition as really up towards the top of what we were looking at. I think that Sister, Previsla, and Chimera all could argue that they're in that same tier, if not better than Liberty and single reactor ignition. But just got to give my hat, as much as I want to complain about other stuff when I see things that I don't love, I got to give the credit to the design staff, the development staff, and just overall the philosophy change of making these cards more impactful.
Yep.
Yeah. Totally agree. You're gonna have less packs that you open. You're like a legendary. I mean, kind of. So for the most part, you'll be happy.
Yeah, and that's really what this is, right? Like when people open packs, you're accepting that it's lower expected value. It's better to just buy singles. Like it'll be a bit cheaper for you, but not kidding you. When you open packs, it needs to be fun, and good legendaries, good leaders, good showcases is a great step in that direction. So a lot coming up on the channel. If you missed it, we did our leader tier list earlier this week. We got midday matchup coming up on Friday, and then also Twin Suns on Saturday, right? Is that correct, Kyle?
Sunday, I believe.
Sunday the 28th.
We're just gonna hang out, do a live stream, play some games. That'll be over on the CCC live channel.
Absolutely, we'll put the link to subscribe to that channel. But having a great time. I did a deck building stream last week as well. I bought a new mount to record my gameplay here in the office, and I'll admit had some hardware difficulties getting it up. So I was trying to do a stream maybe this week or last weekend, but I need to have some help here. So somebody else holding it as I drill it in. It's too, I'm not handy enough. That's the real reality of this situation. But a lot coming up as we get ready for, Sharky, because people really want to hear about my hardware issues, but it's just over here, right? And it's this very long triangle thing. So it's about like 55, 60 inches, and it's just really unwieldy. Like I get it against the wall and then it like flops over, and it hit me in the head, and it was very embarrassing. So we're going to wait till the next gameplay to get that going. And then we have our pre-release content coming soon. Just a jam-packed month here on the Colorado Cantina Crew YouTube channel as we get ready for Galactic. Shout out to our sponsor, Premier Games. Got their new Best Scar Initiative token here, looking sexy. It will be available in Vegas as well as premiergames.store. Use Colorado Cantina Crew in the checkout to save 10%. And anything else we got out here, or are we good to go and enjoy our life? Well, Kyle, happy Father's Day to you. I know this is a big day for the family. Sharky, we was stuck with the dog parent stuff, but to all the fathers out there, and all the single moms too, playing the role of fathers for a lot of kids out there. Keep it up. Good work. And we'll see you next time here on the channel. Talk to you later. Bye.